Hello, everybody. Welcome to the highly anticipated North Cascades Bluegrass Festival's live interviews with the pros. A little bit about us. The North Cascades Bluegrass Festival, we are one of 5 final nominees for IBMA's Momentum Award for the festival in 2018. Our festival is held annually over Labor Day weekend. We are delighted to announce that this year's festival is just around the corner on September 2nd and 3rd, 2023. To enhance the overall experience, the festival provides camping facilities for both dry and RV camping, starting from the Tuesday before Labor Day and will continue until the Tuesday after. Today, we're privileged to have Clay Russell with Shadowgrass. In addition to their performances on the main stage, they'll be providing workshops during and participating also in the Pro Jam on Saturday evening of the festival. You can read all about that on our webpage. Their exceptional talent and profound expertise is and are sure to captivate us all. So without further ado, let's welcome Clay Russell. Hello, Clay.
Hey.
How you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. How's life in the fast lane?
Well, it's fast.
That's great.
It's good, though.
I want to thank you right now for joining us today for this interview. So let's start off with first question. How did Shadowgrass come to be?
Well, that's a pretty good story. We all grew up, when we were younger, going to fiddlers conventions, which are, a lot of times local festivals that, you can compete in. They have like a band competition, individual competitions. But I grew up going to the fiddlers conventions and competing when I started out playing. And there was one year, I believe it was at Elk Creek Fiddlers Convention. We decided, none of us knew each other, but we were all looking to, have a competition band for the festival. So, it just kind of formed at that point. And, after, 3 of the original members were in that competition band, or 3 of us who are original members who are still in the band. But anyway, we went and done the competition and kept it going afterwards. So that's how, I guess, the band formed.
Great. I'm sure your audience and your fans are curious about what your band members do when you're not working, performing, rehearsing, all that sort of thing. Can you take a moment to provide us some insight into your lives outside of bluegrass?
Yeah, well, I can say most of us enjoy, or at least have a lot of the same hobbies. For me, that would be, personally, I like to golf. I like to be outdoors. I like to be in nature. I like to go to festivals. And, that's kind of, festivals are a shared hobby. When we're not playing a festival or on the road playing a show, we like to venture a lot of times together to different music festivals or different shows. We like to, watch other bands and stuff. But, that's what we, or we just relax, if we have a long string of shows and we get off the road. A lot of times, nobody wants to do anything. They just kind of want to chill out and recoup before the next run. So,
Yeah, I imagine it's a lot of stress traveling on the road as well and being away from home, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So you're on the road a lot touring, and things happen on the road. So I'm really curious. Do you have any funny stories, kind of like road stories that you could tell us?
Oh yeah, I've got plenty of those.
Why don't you share a few with us?
Well, here recently, there was something funny happened to us. Early on, when we were a band, we had a kind of a pet turtle named Carl. We found at one of the gigs we were playing. It was a campground show. I mean, there might have been 25 people there watching this who were at the campground. That was a little deal, but we found this little turtle, and we named him Carl, and he was our little buddy. But here recently, one of our songs that we recorded on our album is called Carl's Breakdown. But we'll take this little turtle, or at least we did before, what I'm getting ready to tell you happened. But Kaiser, our guitar man, had this little stuffed turtle that he would put on the stage in memory of Carl. decorate the stage. But we were in Atlanta, playing a show, um, and got done with the show. All was said and done. Everything was good. We were chilling at the merch table. There was this girl that came up to me, and she was like crying. I didn't know why she was crying, but she was like tearing up, bawling her eyes out, pretty much. She
Oh,
was begging me for that turtle, and I mean, when I say girl, I mean fully grown woman. Older than me. She was begging me for that turtle, and I kept telling her, I was like, I can't give you the turtle because it's Kaiser's. It's not mine to give. Um, but she wouldn't take no for an answer. She stood there and wanted that turtle. But anyway, I kind of made a beeline for something else because I was just wanting to get out of that situation. It was kind of weird. But I turned my back and I see this girl climbing over the stage barrier. And I see her reaching up on stage for that stuffed turtle. So I'll run. I'll run. I find the security at the door. I'm like, hey, man, we're about to, there's about to be a woman walk through here with a stuffed turtle that belongs to us. If you could get that back, I'd appreciate it. But anyway, I just go chill, let it be. What happens, happens. But here, not too long after that, the security guard comes. He's walking up to me. His head's like hung down. He looks kind of sad. He's like, man, he's like, man, I tried, but she bolted out that door, man. I couldn't catch her. But yeah, Kaiser, and a funny thing, the funny thing about that is the turtle belonged to Kaiser's sister, little sister. And I'm
oh,
pretty sure it was a gift from her boyfriend. So Kaiser had to, make that phone call. Hey, I'll buy you another turtle. This one got kind of stolen.
yeah,
That's
kind of.
the more recent funny things that's happened, I guess.
Got another one?
Oh yeah, it's looking back, it's kind of funny, but we bought a shuttle bus as a band, and man, we put a lot of time into that thing. We'd redone the floor on it. We built bunk beds into it. We had that thing prime condition for touring, essentially. But uh, we took it to a show we had in Boone, kind of as a test show, and it was at the Boone Saloon. Man, everything went great, fine. Everything ran good. But right, I forget which show we was going to, but we all loaded up everything into the shuttle bus, and I'm fairly certain it was a string of shows. It was a string of shows that we had, so it was more than one, and they were consecutive day after day. So we were planning on being out a long time. So man, we had packed the shuttle bus full, and we were on the interstate leaving Johnson City, and no more than 30 minutes down the road, we pulled over to. I think a tire needed pumped up, so we pulled over to pump up a tire. And we cut the engine off, and we was doing that. And well, we got done, and we went to start it up, and man, that thing wouldn't crank. So we stood there trying to get that thing cranked up. We tried everything in the book, and man, we were there probably for 30 minutes. And thankfully we had a show that day, but we had given ourselves enough time to have a little bit of leeway, I guess. Um, but luckily, some passersby or some people getting gas saw us in our dire need of electricity, and they rigged us up. We got a jump, but man, I don't know how that thing made it back to Johnson City, but that's where Luke and Madison lives, and so essentially we dropped the bus and we had to take two cars instead. And man, you ought to saw everybody slinging their gear into the cars trying to get down the road. But man, that was a situation. Looking back, it was pretty funny. Me and Kaiser, I don't know what we was doing, but I know we got probably a total of 2 hours of sleep that night because we drove back to Johnson City from either Georgia or Nashville. I think it was Nashville, but man,
How many miles are you talking about, since some of our fans may not know those locations?
I don't know exactly the miles, but it would have been about 5 hour. It would have been a 5 hour drive, and we done that at night, and we got back probably. I think we got back around 6 a.m. And we went to sleep. I think we got up at 8. But man, during this whole situation, I was cracked out on caffeine. I mean, I woke up and to function. I needed that stimulant. But I look over and everybody's freaking out. Everybody's losing their minds because we're going to be late to this show because our bus won't start. But I get to looking for Kaiser, man, and Kaiser's passed out in one of our bunks that we built, just unaware of pretty much everything that's going on. And it was pretty funny, man. But
We'll have to give him a bad time when he shows up at the festival.
oh yeah,
Sleeping on the job or something.
Sure.
So
it all worked out though.
That's good. Thanks for sharing that with us. Much appreciated. You guys have won numerous competition awards. What are some of your favorites?
Ooh, sure, that's a hard one. Like I said, growing up, some of the favorite, I wouldn't say, just getting handed the award is one thing, but some of the favorite parts of winning things that, like a Phyllis mentioned, is just the time you spent trying to rack up songs and going through them and trying to pick out. A lot of times, we've competed not fully as a band and had to have fill-ins, so that's been fun too. Just trying to grab people and pull them into a competition scenario. But I'd say some of the funnest, awards, I can think of, that we've won as a band is probably took place at Galax Fiddlers. And we competed there as kids. And one of my favorites, there was one year, we were kids. We started the band, I was probably 14 years old. Kaiser was probably 11. And, we had a few different, Luke was in the band at the time, but we had a couple different members. But we were all kids, man. And we competed in the adult one year at Galax. And I think we got away with second, maybe, or second or third. But, to be able to do that and, that was pretty cool, being able to get up there. But the times that we had with that, I don't know. One of the funnest things about competing in that scenario is standing in a line for, 1.5 hours waiting for your turn to get to compete. Because, man, that's a long time and it gets real boring. So you've got to. There's a lot of funny things that happen to keep entertained. So yeah, I'd say some of the awards and stuff we've won at Galax in particular have been my favorite.
Okay. So as we all know, the pandemic with COVID really caused a lot of different things to happen in life, and we're still feeling some of those. As you think about Shadowgrass, how did they handle that time, and what did you all do during the pandemic when you were not able to perform?
Yeah. Well, that was a very interesting time for us, but a very interesting time for anybody on earth, really, I would say. But for us, having no shows at all and coming from a point, before the pandemic happened, our band lineup in general was a little bit different. We had different guitar player, and Kaiser was our bass man, in the past. Oh. But the lineup changed essentially right before the pandemic happened. And before the pandemic happened, we didn't really know where we were going to go as a band. In general, it kind of came to this stalemate. Of course, not playing any shows, and of course, having a band lineup that was up for grabs. It was up in the air. So, what happened during the pandemic, I guess the biggest blessing of it is, we didn't have any pressure on us as a band to, have to throw something together and go tour all the time. Because like I said, our band lineup was unsolidified. And, that allowed us to be able to sit back and say, okay, what direction do we want to take the band? What do, it kind of gave us time to come up with a game plan essentially. But during that time, we got Madison, Luke Morris's wife, Madison Morris, to play fiddle. And we had at the time Kaiser's dad play bass. And, if I could pick, picking a musician, from 5 different bands and just randomly pick them out. And, when you put them together, no matter the band they come from, that combination of musicians, I mean, it's going to make a completely unique sound. So upon getting Madison and David into the band and getting together and playing music, our new sound started to form. So, I mean, upon that happening, we were able to kind of creatively say, okay, what do we want to do with this, and where do we want to take it? And ultimately, we started putting time into creating an album, and our album came from the COVID time. We took a lot of time and put our heads together on where we wanted to go with the album, what we wanted to do as a band in the future, and COVID just, like I said, it gave us time to think, but also our album came from it. We had the time to set back and really take our time with that whole process. So, that's what we did. And of course, coming out of COVID is when, we had to start booking them shows. And of course, coming out from that, and not playing shows for 2 years, it's a bit difficult getting back in the run of things,
Yeah. So thanks for that. Who are some of your main influences, if you would mind sharing that, both bluegrass and maybe some other genres as well?
Okay. Like personally or band influences?
Yours.
Okay. Man, that's a hard question because I've got so many of them.
Charlie Parker. No, I'm just
I haven't heard of Charlie Parker.
I'm a saxophone player, so he's a jazz saxophone player, renowned. I don't know if you heard the song Birdland, but it was after him, so I was just giving you a bad time.
Oh, okay. Cool. I'd say growing up, as far as bluegrass goes, Earl Scruggs, Earl Scruggs and Lester Flatt.
Oh, yeah.
That was my, personally my introduction to bluegrass music. And I can remember as a kid, when they come out with the iPod, I had Foggy Mountain Breakdown on it and a couple more songs that they had done, but man, I just wore them out. I don't know. I fell in love with the music then and there. And of course, coming from, my father playing music and Pepoff playing bluegrass music, I kind of already had that, but I'd say Earl Scruggs and Lester Flatt. And, recently, I love, Tony, what Tony Rice done for bluegrass guitar. He had like a heck of a lineup at some point, Bela Fleck, banjo, man. Those guys are, huge, very, very huge, like Newgrass Revival, that band, that's probably me and Kaiser's. That's one of our favorite bands. But and recently, Billy Strings, man. I mean, he's took the reins on bluegrass music and man made something, I don't know, completely new and just exciting, man. And he's definitely one of our newer influences,
Yeah.
But we all, I can speak for everybody in the band. If you were to go through our music playlist, it would bounce. It wouldn't be one genre. And I guess for me particularly, I love I grew up listening to a lot of Southern rock. It's like Leonard Skinner. And of course I grew up, listening to a lot of like hip hop stuff too. And I wouldn't say that's played a very big role in my, influencing my music or, how I speak through my instrument. But, I'd say to an extent, every type of music you hear in some way kind of influences.
Yeah, no, you're right. I have this image in my head of you doing a hip hop song on a banjo, and I'm just trying to.
Oh yeah, I've probably tried it. Before.
Yeah. So, real briefly, since the other band members couldn't join us today, so we're going to really be looking forward to seeing everybody at the festival over Labor Day weekend. Tell us a little bit about each of your band members.
Yeah. Well, I'll start off with Luke and Madison Morris. Luke is our mandolin player. I'm trying to think of, if I tried to name all the good things about my man Luke, we'd be here a long time. So, I better not. But, Madison Madison's our fiddle player, and they're both our lead singers too. And they're together a lot. They're married, so I don't know. Something comes out in kind of their harmonies together, and how they sing, and just I don't know. I just they're awesome. They're awesome musicians. They're awesome people. They're both from Luke's from Galax, but they're both living in Johnson City right now.
Okay.
It's funny. Me and Luke used to go to ETSU, and they're living in the apartment that me and Luke stayed in together. So
cool.
It's cool getting to go back there and hang. But Kaiser George is their guitar man. He's from around Mount Airy, North Carolina. Andy Griffith City, but he originally in the band started off on bass, man, and we became in need of a guitar player, and man, he had started just messing around on guitar. Of course, from Kaiser being a kid, man, he could play about every instrument under the sun. He put a lot of time into just playing in general, but playing and learning everything. But he stepped up to be our guitar man, and Lord have mercy, it's like I don't know, man. I don't know. He's just rocketed into space with that guitar stuff, man. And it's a blast getting to play with him. And here recently, we've been getting Evan Campfield to play bass with us. And he's from Greensboro, North Carolina, I believe. And man, he's also a killer musician. You can hear he comes from more of a jazz background. So it's nice, especially in what we do as a band, which we play some traditional bluegrass stuff, but also we like to branch out and kind of we don't like to limit ourselves to a particular sound. So having somebody from that background, is perfect. The stuff he does on the bass, he's not only like holding down a tempo, he's like really, really good at like adding creatively to our sound as a band on stage. So getting to play with him is a whole lot of fun too. But that's a quick synopsis of our band members there.
Cool. So tell us about what your favorite hobby is. I know we talked about that earlier when you and I were getting to know each other.
Yeah. I would say just taking it easy, being outside. That probably, I live in Troutdale, Virginia, and that's in the sticks, man. That's in the middle of nowhere, essentially. And we've got some land. I just like to, whenever I'm not on the road, especially coming fresh off the road, I just like sitting outside and just breathing in fresh air, listening to the birds. That's hard to beat. And I'll find too. I like golf too. That's one of my hobbies. Of course, that's outside, and I'm pretty sucky at it, but it's still a great time. But I would say festivals too, and going to shows, especially with the band. It's fun. We always we like to go and watch different artists, and I don't know. It's good to expand your musical horizon and hearing new and upcoming people, and going and hearing other live bands in general. So
cool.
That's one thing we love to do.
So Clay, I'm going to give you a chance to shamelessly promote yourself and Kaiser, because at this year's festival, we have workshops. In fact, we're known for our really great workshops at the North Cascades Bluegrass Festival. And you're going to be doing one with Kaiser called Guitar and Banjo Licks with Tonality and Timing. So can you expand on that a little bit to give us a little, myself and our fans, a little preview of your workshop content?
Oh, yeah. Well, I was told Madison kind of handles all of our stuff, man. So she was like, all right, we're going to need, we're doing some workshops. So what would you want to do? And I automatically kind of jumped to Kaiser, because, you get me and him on a stage and it's just a fun time, together. But in general, let's see, tonality and timing, was it? Is that what? Me and him,
guitar and banjo licks with tonality and timing. I can see you're really well prepared for this.
Oh yeah. Well, me and Kaiser put our heads together, man, and I was thinking, if I was going to see a workshop with a banjo player and guitarist who I look up to or would want to take away from, I would want to learn their licks, man. I would want to be able to see some of their kind of techniques about going into a lick, because a lick is a way to spice up a break, or I mean, you can play it behind somebody singing too. But the whole tonality and timing thing is, you could have a handbook of licks in your pocket, but if you don't play them at the right time,
yeah,
you either overplay them or you play it at a time that just doesn't make sense. I mean, it just don't work out. And a lot of people will. I don't know. Tone is also a very, very important thing. And I think especially, guitarist, banjo player, it's very important to be able to get your tone right. I mean, if you play something too loud, or especially on the banjo, man, it's very easy to just go full throttle and sound plinky, man, and play over everybody essentially. And the tone comes into, of course, playing licks. But, if I'm sitting down playing in a jam with Kaiser and I'm constantly playing loud all the time, you're not going to hear him at all. And, the same kind of goes for Kaiser in some specs. If he's playing, if he's taking a guitar break, there's a certain tone that he's going to want to get out of, what he's doing. And I mean, that kind of can transfer. It kind of changes a bit from, when he bounces into rhythm and then into a break. So I don't know. That's just, I don't know, that kind of saying, guitar and bluegrass banjo licks with tonality and timing, it's, kind of a focus on something, but at the same time, you can expand that and really go in depth on, how to make yourself better as a musician, as a solo musician, if you're just going to play by yourself. I mean, but also, how to be in a band setting and, make yourself, but also the rest of your band sound good. It's just it's kind of a broad thing. We can, it didn't really tie us down to talking about one specific thing, so we could really branch off and get in depth on certain things. So
I really appreciate that. And I think people are going to really enjoy learning about that. My father always taught me, son, when you're on stage, your job is to make whoever's taking the lead, whoever's singing, to sound the best they are. And that means don't play over them or play at the wrong point during their song, etc. And you're touching on some of those points. And I've seen the should not have done that, and I've seen the people who do it just so tastefully. It just really adds to the whole band and the whole music. So I really appreciate that.
Oh yeah.
So I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. Any thoughts about playing at our festival this coming Labor Day weekend?
Oh, I'm really looking forward to it, especially since you had brought up the Pro Jam. I'm really looking forward to that. I know the rest of the band is. We all, we love playing together, but man, every chance we get, jamming with other musicians, hearing people we haven't met before play and getting to, I guess, mesh our sounds together. I don't know. We just love to jam. And so, that's, in particular, one thing about your festival that I'm really looking forward to.
Thank you. I'll just take a second so some of our fans don't know what the Pro Jam is. So the Pro Jam is after the last set on Saturday night, all the artists are going to be joining what's called a Pro Jam. There's 3 different jams going to be going on. We'll have ability to get some gourmet hot dogs, and then we'll be near the beer garden, which will be open as well. And what the Pro Jam does is I take the artists that are performing this year and I mix them up so that, for example, at Shadowgrass, Clay wouldn't be in a jam playing with another member of his band. He's going to be in a band maybe playing with one of the Kruger brothers or somebody from the Lonesome Town Painters. So it's all going to be mixed up. And then those folks get to play with other pros, and they can move around to the different jams at their will. And then we have an opportunity for someone to sign up to play one song with them or sing or get a photo op. And there's a jam host, and we did it last year, and it was phenomenal. And it was the most requested thing we had to bring back. So we're looking forward to that as well. So I appreciate that, Clay. Yeah. We're right at 10:30, and I try to keep this at 30 minutes. Do you have a little bit extra time, or do you want to just pop in?
Yeah, I do have a little bit of extra time for sure. Okay. I do have a tea time funny. Funny. I talk about golf. I've got a tee time for about 2:45, but I'm pretty close by, so I ain't worried about it. But
All
yeah,
right.
I'd love to.
That's great.
Continue.
I'm glad you told me about golf. I'm going to try and bring you a little gift when you get here because I live on a golf course. So,
Oh, nice.
so I'm on the first.
That's dangerous, though, man.
No, it is. Yes.
Look
We
up
have
when you
grandkids playing out there. We don't let them play during golfing times without us being out there because
it's probably
they get
smart.
knocked in the head. Yeah. So tell our audience who Clay's most influential artist might be. You mentioned on some other folks, but who's your most influential musician, or if you have a mentor, or both?
Yeah, I would say the musician who's had the greatest impact on my life personally would certainly be my father. He was in a bluegrass band, when I was growing up as a kid, and when I was 5 years old, he got me a banjo for Christmas. A little tiny banjo, no longer than probably my forearm to my fingers. You can't really tell on a screen how long that is, but I mean it was a sweet little banjo, and he would get me up on stage with his band, and I would just strum it. I would just be strumming on stage, and eventually, he started. I originally learned how to play with my thumb, just picking out the melody of songs. He would dumb down a song, to where I could just play a simple melody with my thumb. And I done that up until the point that, I started, I don't know if you would say my brain developed enough or my fingers developed enough, but, I done that up until I could start the three finger, Earl Scruggs style banjo. And, he started teaching me that. And man, I really fell in love with that. And I mean, that just opened, I don't know, it was stepping into a new dimension, I guess. But, if it hadn't been for him, I don't know. I don't know if I'd be playing banjo today. So I'd say that he's definitely the most influential, musician. But, also my papaw was a musician. So growing up, I would hear music, hear the bluegrass through my dad, but I'd also hear my papaw playing it. He'd play the mandolin a lot of times, and he always had man some of the nicest instruments, man. So I'd go over to Papaw's house, and man, I'd just be playing them all, even though I didn't really know too much of what I was doing. But man, he had a big impact too. I mean, he was very encouraging, and pushed me to do what I love, which I fell in love with music. But if I had a show, he was there. He was there if he could be, as well as my parents. And I don't know, they're a big part of why I'm able to do what I am today, and play music. Because growing up as a kid, we started Shadowgrass when we were all kids. Man, none of us had a driver's license, but man, they drove us all across the country. Just drove us everywhere. I mean everywhere. We were playing. We had shows out in Montana Folk Festival. We went up to New York City. We played on a TV show there. Went to Missouri, played shows there. But man, they were just constantly taking us. But throughout the whole time, man, they were just all. And I can really speak collectively for the band. I would say, the band my band members had very supportive families too. So that made it all possible at the end of the day, so. But as far as I'm concerned, my biggest musical influences would be my dad and my papaw. So.
Thank you, Clay. So, in honor of your tea time, I'm going to go into our rapid fire segment. And I promised our listeners that we'd be learning things about you that most people, really never knew before. And you've come through with that. So thank you. This is meant to be lighthearted. So please try to answer them as quick as possible and maintain that rapid fire momentum. Are you ready?
Oh, yeah.
All right. So what's your favorite hot and cold drink?
Hot and cold drink. My favorite cold drink would probably be sweet tea. Favorite hot drink would probably be apple cider.
Apple cider. What's your most famous person you have ever met?
Most famous person I have ever met. Ooh, that's a hard one.
I know.
I've met a few famous people. I'm just trying to say, okay. That is very hard. I would say Ricky Skaggs is up there, certainly.
Okay.
Ricky
Uh,
Skaggs.
if cost was not an issue, Clay, and you could buy any banjo, what banjo would it be?
Ooh, well, I'd probably call Jim Mills and come test drive some pre-war banjos, and I might just pick a cut if cost wasn't an issue. I might just pick a flashy one that sounds good, and then pick one that just sounds really good.
Cool.
That's probably
what is your favorite food?
My favorite food, I would say in general, if I was if I had to pick a last meal right now, I'd say a nice ribeye steak, big old juicy ribeye steak.
All right. Do you cook? And if so, what's your favorite thing to cook?
I do. I'm not the most talented chef, but I'll throw some chicken in the air fryer sometimes. Glaze it with some teriyaki sauce. Maybe put me some Minute Maid rice in the microwave and make me like some chicken and rice. I got really good back in the day. Because I was bodybuilding, so I ate that about 5 or 6 times a day. So I got really good at that routine.
Have you ever broken any bones?
I have. I've broken a couple. I broke my fist. I guess it was called a boxer fracture. Funny thing about that was I was playing music at the time, so I was wearing a cast on my right hand. Luckily, my 3 fingers were loose, so I could still play. But I broke that, and I also broke my nose in school playing soccer.
Oh.
I was going to headbutt the ball to my team, and I jumped up in the air, and this short, stubby kid, man, with this really solidified, bony forehead, man, went up too. And, man, he just headbutted my nose and cracked it.
Bummer.
And broke it all to pieces.
So do you sing in the band? Just out of curiosity?
I sing harmony. I never do any lead. I guess
Okay.
Personally, I don't have the skill of playing and singing at the same time. And
so my question was going to be, what's your favorite key to sing in? But if you're not really on the lead, you probably don't have a favorite key. I don't know. Do you dream? And if so, do any of your dreams come true?
Yes, I have had dreams that come true in weird ways. But yes, I do dream. I dream every night, and used to when I was a kid, and still to this day, I can still do it a little bit. But I'm a lucid dreamer, so I can control what happens in my dreams most of the time.
Oh, nice!
But,
I want that talent.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of times, I wake myself up, if something too exciting is going on in a dream. If I try to fly into space, it's like, it gets to a point in which your heart is excited. So, you'll wake up, which is interesting. But, yeah, I have had certain dreams come true, for sure.
Cool. What's your favorite actor?
Favorite actor?
Who's your favorite actor, I should really say?
Ooh. My favorite actor would probably be Hugh Jackman.
Okay. Who's your favorite? Well, sorry, what's your favorite movie?
My favorite movie, I would say my favorite movie series would be probably Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
Lord of the
Rings. And if you're not based out of your current location, if you weren't, is there a secondary place you might want to live?
Yeah. If I did move, I'd want to be somewhere more secluded and in the country, which would be hard to beat, from where I'm coming from. But, if I could just get a big old ranch in Montana or something, or I don't know, move to a beach somewhere. For me, it would be 2 pathways, and one would be a beach house somewhere, or, in a ranch in the middle of nowhere,
Okay. And last question, what's your favorite venue to play and why?
Ooh, that one's hard. I'm gonna have to think on that for a second. My favorite venue to play. Ooh, that's hard. Well, there are certain venues that we've been back to several times that I would be able to pick one from them, but I'm racking my brain, and my brain isn't quite working right now. So I'll just give you one of the most recent venues I've been to that I absolutely loved was Wrightsville Beach, the Palm Room, and man, it's this little room. They've got kind of a little bar over here, but man, it's this open room, got some pool tables in the back. But man, when I tell you that was one of the wildest, funnest shows we've played as a band, man, and it's right on the beach too. So man, we got done with that show. And, I went for a little swim. It was probably 1 a.m. And man, it was during a cold time of year, man. So I got in that freezing water, man, and I don't know, it kind of awoke me a little bit. I don't know, but man, that was a great time, and probably one of my favorite places I've played recently. So
great. Well, Clay, before we close, if you had only one message to provide to your fan base and those listening today, what would it be?
Oh, well, I would say thank you to the fans for sure, because, without the fans, what we do as a band would be not possible, and recently, with Shadowgrass gaining grounds, we're getting to go out, or gaining ground, we're getting to go out to shows and meet more people and connect with more people. And man, I can speak for the band, but that means a whole lot, Used to we would get a lot of times on a festival circuit, so we would be playing for people who were there for a festival. But recently we've been kind of branching, doing our own stuff, and you've got to sell your own tickets at those places. So getting to meet and seeing fans come out for your music, man, that has, I don't know, changed the world for us, and I don't know, put a new fire under us as musicians and people. But I mean, I would just say thank y'all for coming out. Thanks for listening to our music. And, I hope to meet y'all all somewhere in the future, at one of our shows. But it means a lot. It really does. Yeah.
Well, I just want to say thank you on behalf of North Cascades Bluegrass Festival for coming out today and doing this interview to kind of give our fans a little insight into Shadowgrass and yourself. So we are really looking forward to seeing you at this year's North Cascades Bluegrass Festival. If you'd please give our thanks to the band and let them know that we are very, very excited about hearing you guys and seeing you, and we look forward to Labor Day weekend. So thanks again, and that concludes our interview. Have a great golf game.
Well, thank you. Thank you again for having me, and I'll do that. I know all the band members are very excited, so we're looking forward to it.
All right. Take care.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.